We're going to rank all of the Ice-type Pokemon for Christmas. The reason why we are not including Gen 9 Pokemon in this, okay? The reason we are not including Gen 9 Pokemon is pretty simple. It's still a fairly new game, and I don't want to spoil any sort of Pokemon designs or anything like that for anybody that hasn't played the games, is wanting to play the games, maybe is working on the games right now, and doesn't want, you know, new Pokemon that they're seeing being spoiled to them. I'd rather just avoid that, personally. Now, you might be asking, are you going to rank this on the merit of how good they are in the games? You know, those sorts of things? No. Chat, this has nothing to do with how competitively viable any of these are. This has nothing to do with how good they are for a normal playthrough. None of that. This is purely off design alone. As you can see, there is a tier all the way at the top for Delibird. And the reason that has to be there is because we are doing this during the holidays, and Delibird is the most festive of Pokemon. So, of course, Delibird is hanging out at the top in a tier of its own. Now we have the actual rest of them that we're ranking off design. And bonus points if I feel like they are festive. As far as design goes, I think an easy S tier here, of course, is Cloyster. For obvious reasons, because it's a cool looking clam. It's a cool design with the outsides, you know. It's got like the hard shell, and it's got like the cool like inside part as well. It's a cool clam, and that is why it is an S tier, obviously. Another one that I think has to be at least considered up there is, of course, Articuno, because it's a sick looking blue ass bird, and it's got like the cool things on its head. It looks like, you know, that like on Combuskin, it's got like the Torchic, I guess. It's got like the fire like hair coming out the top. It looks like they have that on Articuno, but it's just like ice type on the forehead. Piloswine is clearly an S tier. Piloswine is, because here's the thing, Swinub is S tier, and that's mostly because Swinub, Cucumber wins these. Okay, shout out to Cucumber, our legendary emote Pokemon. Swinub has to be S tier, dude. A perfect little design for a little like snow pig thing. It's great. Piloswine, not so much. Piloswine's like probably like A tier for me. I like it, but it didn't do as much as Cucumber did. Like, when it evolved into Piloswine, it didn't really do that much. Okay, but Swinub was cracked. For me, Piloswine always felt kind of weird because it's like, it's got this giant, like, camel lump on the back. I don't know. Like, I'm like trying to imagine what this thing's body is under the fur is just, like, wild to me. Is Cloyster S because it looks like a... No, it's because it has a cool design on the outer shell. I was just saying how cool the design is, and not for any other reason. It's just got a cool like outer shell thing, and then like, okay, it might be because it looks like a pussy, but like for the most part, I think it's just got a cool shell. Okay, next I would like to rank, let's do I think Sandshrew has a really neat design, but it's not really that crazy. I like that it looks like an igloo. It's a little festive here, but I don't think it's that much of a departure from its original design. It kind of looks pretty similar. However, I do think Sandslash belongs in A tier. A Alolan Sandslash, I think, is pretty sick. It's got like the big old icicles on the back. I think this is a really neat sort of Alolan form that does a little bit more. I love the design of Sandshrew. I just don't... it looks pretty much just like normal Sandshrew with a little bit more of like a hood on. So this one might be controversial. Snom is down in C tier. Borderline D tier, but it gets a C tier specifically because it has a funny little butt face. However, Frostmoth, you know, it's kind of festive. It's kind of got a neat design. I think that gets a little B tier there. It's kind of a neat idea, like an icy moth. I don't know, it's kind of cool. I like the design, but it's not festive enough or cool enough to get quite into these tiers, but I think it's a nice little middle-of-the-road Pokemon. Can you add him to your list? The crab? It's not an Ice-type Pokemon, dude. The Peggle crab? That's not an Ice-type Pokemon, Raku. Let's do Cubchoo. I think Cubchoo is a D-tier design. It's just a little bear with this giant snot thing coming out, which I always thought was a little gross. So unfortunately, Cubchoo, a bit of a D tier for me. Beartic, or Bearartic, however you fucking say it, is not D tier. This guy is a nice C tier. He's just a big polar bear, guys. It's a big polar bear. It's kind of neat, but you know, it's just a giant polar bear with like an ice beard. There's not much going on there. It's not, I don't hate it, but it's kind of just in like C tier. Nothing special. What is very special, though, Priogonal. I think Cryogonal has a really cool design. I don't even really know what it is. I don't even know what Cryogonal is, but it's cool. I always thought its design looked really neat. I think because it's very unique from like the rest of the ice types. You don't really get a lot of Pokemon that look like it. So Dugong is F tier? No, dude. Dugong is not F tier. Dugong has a sick design. What do you mean? Well, first of all, okay, Seal's just a water type, so it's not on here. Dugong, sick design. Okay. It is a D tier, but listen, I mean, it might just be an animal, all right? It might just be an animal. But it's a cute animal. It's not F tier, it's D tier. There's no F tier. None of these are F tier Pokemon. Although some of them get close. I like Dugong. It's not, there's nothing really like offensive about it. It's not like, it's fine. Dugong's fine. Another, I would say decent design. Something that I think is not anything crazy good, but you know, it's decent. I would say the Sneasel line, I think are both in sort of that B tier for me. I know a lot of people like these Pokemon. Design-wise, I don't think they're, like, crazy good. I actually like Sneasel a little more. That's why I put it over Weavile here. I like Sneasel's design a little bit more than Weavile. Weavile was always kind of weird to me. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, but I think their designs are okay. Very middle of the road for me. I think Smoochum is decent. I think it's also kind of like a B tier. It's got some sass to it. I think it works fine design-wise. Jinx, it's somewhere in here. D for racism? Well, this is assuming it's not original Jinx design. This is assuming we're doing the updated Jinx design. But yeah, you know what? Because it has a bad history, we'll put it in C tier. We'll bump it down a notch here. Because I do like the flowy dress on it. I think it's kind of cool. Chat, listen to me. This might be very controversial. You may disagree with this. Okay. You might think this is completely wrong. Mr. Rhyme is S tier. And in fact, it's all the way up top on the S tier. I think Mr. Rhyme is a great design for a Pokemon. I think he's a handsome boy. He's a handsome man. And not only that, he's festive as fuck. If you don't think that Mr. Rhyme is festive, if you don't think this guy loves the holidays, you are sorely mistaken. I love Mr. Rhyme. Probably my favorite design, I would say, out of Gen 8, which is a little bold, but like, dude, when I found this thing in my initial playthrough of the game years ago, oh my God, I love it. On the complete opposite end of that spectrum, we have Ice Cube. That is an F tier Pokemon design. It is literally just a penguin with the ice head. That's it. This is one of the most forgettable Pokemon to me. I forgot it even was a thing for a while. And then somebody was like, this is a Pokemon. I was like, there's no shot. And they were like, no, it's actually a Pokemon. Nothing going there for me. I think it doesn't even evolve or anything. It's just dumb. It's literally just dumb. Let's do, okay, so I'm gonna do Snorunt. I think is a nice like A tier. I really like Snorunt's design. I love that it's got like the cloak covering it. I think it's a very like neat little design. I think Glalie is kind of in this tier for me personally, like C to D. I'll put it C tier because it does look kind of cool, but the fact that it was always just a giant floating head was really weird to me. I'll put it at the top of D tier though. But Frostlass, now that's a sick design. Design-wise, that's gotta be S tier. Frostlass has a sick design. For like what it's supposed to do and like how they actually like made it look, I think it's pretty sick. It looks very like mysterious and ghosty, but also has that like ice sort of like, you got like the little ice crystals on the top and like on the sleeves. It's very floaty for like the ghost stuff. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't rank Galarian Mr. Mime. Now this guy gets bonus points for festivity, but he's still B tier. Without the fact that it was so festive, he'd probably be down in like D tier. I don't think Galarian Mr. Mime is great, but Mr. Rhyme is beautiful. But Galarian, just Mr. Mime is, in my opinion, kind of ass. But festive-wise, it bumps all the way up to B, because it's got, like, the nice festive shoes. It's got, like, the reindeer, like, antlers going on, like, on the sides here a little bit. Like, it's got some festivities going on here, which is why it gets all the way into B tier. Oh, you know another one I'm not huge on? Arctozolt. Like, what am I even looking at here? It's a dragon stuck in, like an icy acorn-looking thing. And it's got like the feet coming out and like it's just so weird to me. I really don't like it, although it's not worse than Ice Cube. Mamoswine, I think it's just gonna be right up here too. I think Mamoswine is a really like neat Pokemon. I think the evolution from Swinub all the way to Mamoswine, it makes sense. I like that it becomes like very big. It's got the big old tusks, but like the legs still like kind of have like some I don't know, like Piloswine and Swinub don't really have legs per se. So I like that Mamoswine's legs aren't like these massive, like making it super like tall because of the legs. I like that the body is still like the very big piece there, while the legs still like stay relatively short. I don't know what this one's called. It's like a Roma or something like that. But this one, I think is fine, but it kind of looks like a Neopet, which puts it down in like C tier for me. At least B, it looks kind of like a Neopet, dude. It looks a little bit like one of those like fake mons that you'd see made in like 2011 that people are like, dude, this is totally legit Pokemon. But it's not. However, Aurorus, definitely a B tier. Aurorus has a pretty cool design. I like the coloring, like it's like neon coloring on the stuff on the head. I think it's pretty sick. And I like that it's like a dinosaur. It's pretty cool. Might be controversial. Glaceon's an A tier for me. I think a lot of people love Glaceon's design. Personally, I think it's really good. But if I'm going to be honest, I think an ice type, if you think of like the other evolutions, right? Flareon's got like the whole like fiery like mane and everything and like tail. Jolteon is very much like the like rigid, like electric, like spikies coming out. Vaporeon literally just looks like it's made of water. Glaceon for me, I think is not quite like there to like really showing how much of an ice type it is. Let's do the ice cream cone Pokemon, huh? Let's do all these guys. Okay, so Vanillite, a little festive. It looks like a little festive guy, so that bumps it up a little bit. Without the bonus points from being festive, it would have probably been C, but I think with the festive points, it gets up to B. After that, it kind of falls off hard. Vanillish, I think, is pretty bad. Not quite as bad to go into F tier, but I am not big on Vanillish. And Vanillux is better, but not by much. Vanillux goes in C because it's a little more festive. I think Vanillish isn't very festive, and it's also just a really bad design. I don't like it at all. It's the most forgettable stage for this Pokemon. I think Vanillux has a little something going for it, but it's not, like, great. Let's do the Alolan Vulpix and Ninetales. I think Alolan Vulpix is a neat design. It works. It doesn't really do anything that crazy. It kind of just is like a color swap. This is probably going to be somewhere, probably high B tier, I think. Now, Ninetales' design, pretty sweet. That's, like, probably high A tier. The Ninetales, actually, I'll put it at the top A tier, because the Ninetales design is pretty sick. They did really change that one up and made it feel like it's totally like its own thing. And I like that a lot. So I think the Ninetales gets a nice A tier. Almost S tier. That one might move up. We'll see. For now, I'm going to put it at the top of A tier. Lapras is a big old... yeah, it's like an A tier. It's a pretty iconic design. And it's good. It's a very memorable Pokemon, and I think that a design like that is good. In fact, I'll even bump it up like up here. Regice, dude, the on, but like the icy like on. Now that's a fucking S tier right there. That's an S tier. I love Regice. I think Regice is a super cool design. Snover, very festive and a good, decent design. Snover gets to be somewhere in here. I like Snover's design. Not like crazy, but I think it's a decent design and it's festive, which is why it definitely gets an A tier spot. Because that's basically like a little Christmas tree guy. And that's got to be up there somewhere. Now, Abomasnow, that's an S tier, baby. That is a festive Pokemon. That's a big old Christmas tree, and it's a kind of sick design. He's got the big old fucking thighs. He's got the big old arms, and he's got a cool snowy mustache. Like, that's an S tier for sure. Let's go Arctivish here. This one, honestly, it doesn't do much for me. It kind of has a giant, like, Giga Chad head, which I think is hype. When your head is this huge and you're a fish, there's some Giga Chad energy here, which is why it gets a bit of a C tier. I don't love it beyond that, but I just love that he's got the big old head. Speaking of festive Pokemon, What is this? Galarian Darumaka? That's a pretty festive Pokemon right there. That's a festive little guy. That's got to be somewhere in probably the middle of A tier, I'd say. I think normally I'd probably have that somewhere in like B. But with the extra points for festivities, I mean, that's got to be an A tier. You give him like a little Santa hat and he's like one of like Santa's little elves or something. I love that. Love this little guy. Speaking of festive, I mean, dude, Galarian Darmanitan? That's a festive Pokemon right there. I mean, look at that guy. I think I can't really put it over anything else because the design is a little like check-worthy. But for festivity's sake, that is an easy S tier. On the other hand, Crabominable, that's a D tier. It's just a weird giant crab with these weird giant arms that just, this doesn't do much for me at all. It's always been a really weird Pokemon to me. It's like they tried to make some sort of like crab yeti thing, and it just turned out to be a wonky design that it just didn't really land for me, personally. Bergmite, I think, is just a totally fine, whatever, like B tier design. Doesn't really do much else. Anything is just fine. Avalugg, kind of the same thing, I'm going to be honest. I think Avalugg is very similar. I think I actually like Bergmite a little more. Avalugg's okay. I think they're both just fine, like inoffensive ice types, but they're not really anything special to me. They're just kind of big blocks of ice. You got the Spheal line, which Spheal, design-wise, not really much festive going on, but design-wise, a very cute Pokemon. Probably right here in A tier, I'd say. Celio, you know, is also kind of up there for me. Not quite as high as Spheal. I think Spheal was kind of the better one, but I think Celio's up there. Probably at the bottom of A tier. I like it. I always thought it was a fun, like, happy, ploppy Pokemon, but it doesn't really do, like, a ton. It's just a nice, you know, yeah, I think it's there because I think Walrein is, like, actually lower. I think I like Walrein the least out of that evolution line. It's good. It could almost be up there, but it really is, like, just a walrus. Like, that's it. That is just a walrus. In fact, I think Celio is going to go down here. I think both Celio and Walrein are going to be in the B tier there. And then, of course, our last Ice-type Pokemon, Kyurem, however you pronounce it. It's a pretty cool design. I'm not going to lie. It's a pretty cool design. However, it would be kind of a Grinch on Christmas, I feel like. It would be a little bit of like a party pooper. It's a little edgy. It's a little jaded. It'd probably like kind of sit in the corner and like hate being there, like around like its relatives, and just be kind of a vibe kill. So it's not a very festive Pokemon, but the design is pretty cool. So it's going to be probably like an A tier. And that, I think, is going to do it for this tier list. I think I feel good about that. I think Bergmite and Avalugg could move down. I think they'll be top of C tier, but like they really don't. There's not much going on there. Cool. So that's the tier list, everybody. That is the tier list for the old Ice-type Pokemon.